new video because of a new solution I've made for Data ALM for finance operation, Dynamics 365 of course. So made this quick video just to explain a little more the goal, the why, the how I made that, and hopefully you will like it and share to everyone that is very interested for that, especially I think mostly administrator, even developer of course. So of course I made it with Power Platform as usual. So on my article, what I have done. So globally, first before coming a Microsoft MVP in 2020, I made a small sample of projects for Power Automate just to to call the LCS API we have right now for 2 years now for data movement. But so far, on my side, for each customer that I work for, globally I was we needed to deploy this kind of Automate on each tenant. So why I've made this kind of article solution, even this video now, is was to really, my goal, my dream was to have one global platform, especially as a partner. You manage several customers, so it was quite a nightmare for me to we have a new customer, I have to deploy that, etc. For me, each customer of finance operation needs to have globally a pre-production, a Q&A, UAT, whatsoever, each kinds of sandbox you need. Of course, you will deploy a cloud-hosted environment, so DevBox only for developer. You don't really need now anymore, so the build environment, so you can manage with that with NuGet packages in Azure DevOps. So the goal for me was I am someone at Dynagy or whatever partner you work for. You have like a platform. You can have each customer. For each customer, you have all their environment of each type you have. So production, sandbox, and cloud-hosted environment, and you can manage on that platform. Refresh database, backup database, and mostly also something I didn't done in the past. It was really a new thing, is to restore database on the cloud-hosted environment on the DevBox, because that's something from the field. I work for several customers. Every time we have a new colleague, a new developer coming from this project, you deploy on LCS, their development environment, but you need to restore the database manually. So of course, back then in 2020, with my Power Automate flow samples I have made in the past, it was really easy because not really easy for the whole flow, end to end, because it was possible for me to refresh the database from prod to like UAT, sandbox instance tier 2. I can after that backup this sandbox automatically. But what is the last step missing, the last foot, was really to restore automatically after on the new development environment I've created for my new colleague coming from this project, or even every Sunday, because I will give you an example from the ground, from the field. It was for each customer we have right now. We refresh automatically every night the production to a pre-prod environment. So far, so good. After that, we reactivate users access, batch job, etc. with the Dynamics 365 Finance Operation connector in Power Automate. Globally, after that, we backup it. Each Sunday, we backup this pre-production to store it in LCS, in an asset library. But after that, each Sunday, I would like to, for all cloud-hosted environment, all development environment we have, maybe you have 2, 3, 4, 8, 10, I don't know, you have an army of development developers in your team for one customer, to restore this backup on development environment. Because for me, it's important for developers to have, on their own local environment, like if they are really on production database, you know, they have all the setup, all data. So when they made a new development, of course they need to test it normally before commit, yeah, to do the commit of the development in Azure DevOps. Of course, they can also debug remotely a tier 2 instance if they want to debug a production bug. But globally, it's really great. It's my opinion. I hope you will share it. But that, yeah, have a global database every Sunday refresh on my development environment is really great. So all the way, you know, the ALM, the data ALM stuff is all the way end-to-end globally automatically done without any manual action. And especially what I've said before, it was, you know, to do it for as a partner, to manage that on a one global platform. Because as I said before, every new customer you have, back then in 2020, if you grab my Power Automate Flow samples I've made for refresh and backup, it was on your end to deploy it on all environment of your all customers. So of course, disclaimer, if you look this video or if you look my article, you read it, if you are a customer, that's great. You choose finance operation. But yeah, it will be more easier for you because you deploy it on your own tenant and that's it. Okay. But for partners, that's why I've made this solution. I think I hope so, but yeah, you will like it. So how I have done that globally? So I use Power Platform as usual with me. Again, it was also a good way for me to use Power Platform because of multiple things. But one is, of course, Microsoft strategy is global, is one cloud, one platform. Okay, one data, one cloud, one platform. Okay. This is a long road for finance operation because, of course, back then, even with AX and CRM, it was really, you know, two worlds separate. But now, in the future, globally, as we call now convergence, Power Platform convergence for finance operation, maybe, I hope so at the end, yeah, you will have Dataverse, you deploy model-driven application like finance, supply chain, customer engagement app, field service, project operation, whatsoever, and that's it. You are finished. Even if behind the scene it's a software as a service application, so you don't really need to know if behind you have a specific database for finance operation, because yeah, the data type is not the same with the Dataverse, etc. And yeah, and you still continue to deploy X++, not C#.NET or whatsoever. But yeah, the goal for administration, for Power Platform feature, you know, some LCS feature have been now deprecated in 2022. So maybe at the end LCS will disappear. Who knows? And all the things will be done on Power Platform Admin Center, and that's it, even for finance operation. Also new things coming from last year, I think. You have now 5 GB Dataverse free for you if you buy the 20 licenses minimum you will need if you want to deploy a finance operation instance in prod. You need to link your Dataverse with, you need to link, your finance operation instance to a Dataverse one-to-one if you want to use virtual entities, LCS add-in, like inventory visibility, like planning optimization, the new MRP, like export data lake, my famous topic, etc., etc. So globally, yeah, the future is Dataverse, even with finance operation. So yeah, so that's why I've made it like this with Power Platform. Of course, I'm also, I wanted to do it more easier for you to learn that Power Platform, Power Automate, to learn if you are new on that, you are X++ expert or administrator, platform expert for finance operation, but we don't really know very well Power Platform. So that's, I think, I hope, a good jump for you to grab this solution, to install it and to see how it works. But globally, I made this solution in just a few hours. So yeah, it was more easier for me than doing development. But you will see that some parts are more Azure side, more PowerShell. Yeah, PowerShell. Long memories if you were work worked like me in installation of AX 2009 or 2012. Yeah, it was yeah. Long memories. So if you like PowerShell, that's good for you, because I've made several parts. You know, the last part of restoring the database on an Azure cloud environment. I've made that with PowerShell. But and I'm using Dynamics 365 tools library from PowerShell library. I really suggest to go and check that, because that's on the GitHub, and you can grab, because it's completely free. You have a lot of contributors, and you can contribute if you want, in fact, and you have a new function you want, and you will see here on functions, you have tons of functions specifically dedicated for you for fast operation. So my goal was really to do it in 2 steps, 2 parts, was, you know, to provide you this kind of solution, to install it, to configure and use it on your own. But also with that, if you install it and like this, maybe you don't know this kind of library. I often ask some people in the community if they know this kind of library. You can see it's very, they made it a very long time ago, in fact, and they made a lot of updates, so it's not yeah, that's something really important. And yeah, globally that's really great, I think, and yeah, that could help also developers to know, okay, sometimes, you know, you want to restart every kind of services of AX on your own development environment, you want to restart it or whatever, and you have a PowerShell function for that. So if you install my solution, you will have after on each development environment this library as a dependency library, in fact, because I use it in my own PowerShell. Of course, before jumping to the installation configuration, every feedbacks, improvement, suggestion, whatsoever, you can grab call me, feel free to share something, put comments, etc. So I will, of course, update this solution in the future as a new improvement maybe will come, or new samples for you, or don't hesitate. So first thing to do, very simple, you have to download my solution. So you can go to my GitHub again. If I made a new solution, a new version, sorry, if I made new version, don't hesitate to follow notification. So you need to, I think you need to subscribe to GitHub. You need to create the account. But globally, you can watch, star, or whatsoever. Forks, you can make the change request, because it's, you know, as GitHub is a social coding. So if you have you want to push something for me to notify me, hey Aurelian, okay, I see your PowerShell, but something can be improved. You change that, you push it as a change request, I can check it and publish it, you know. So yeah, so you download it, clone, download zip, okay. When so I can do it, in fact. Okay, download, please. Yeah, thank you. So if I open it, you will see here you have the README, but this is something really not important. You have the Power Platform zip file to import it. You have the runbook, automation runbook on Azure that we will see after, the code, in fact, and the 2 PowerShell scripts I've made. Okay. So yeah, keep it like this at this time. So installation. So first thing to do for each tenant, for each customer you have as a partner, or as I said before, if you're just one customer, you have one tenant, one platform to administrate. So it's not, you will not have to do it for each tenant. So you have just one. So you made this action just one time. But for partner like me, if you have new customer coming or existing customer, you want to add to this kind of solution. So you need, but mostly that's something I don't really know what some partners didn't do it at first when you have a new customer. For me, when you have a new customer, you create, of course, Azure DevOps, LCS, etc. And of course, you create some Azure app registration that are really for me mandatory. Okay, so this one is really for me mandatory because of two things. Of course, for this solution you need it, this Azure app registration, but also you need you can use this same one for the DevOps part when you want to, at the end of a build pipeline of Azure DevOps, you want to release it. So upload the package automatically to LCS and deploy automatically on a tier 2 instance the code itself. So all the way automatically. So, and for that you need this kind of app registration so that DevOps can connect to LCS. Same thing for this solution I have made, because I use some Power Automate flows, or on the PowerShell script I need to connect to your LCS, and for that of course I need this app registration. When you create this kind of Azure app registration, so you need some privileges on Azure Active Directory to create this, but despite that, you will need the client ID, of course, the application ID of this app registration, the certificate secret, because you need to generate a client secret, okay? And for the API permissions, you need to add lifecycle services, LCS, okay? So that this app registration has some privileges to connect to LCS, okay? As dedicated for you, okay? When this is done, second steps to configure is to create something important, but normally it's mandatory now because fast track team before deploying production, we will review that, is when you create a production instance or over environment, they require now to use a dedicated service account, not a personal account like aurelien.claire@toto.com. Of course, you need to have like something like this, lcs.serviceaccount@domain.com. Okay, so you have to create this service dedicated account, of course with no privileges, but no MFA, no multi-factor authentication, because this is a service account, so you can't have the MFA activated, otherwise it will fail. So why we have to do that is because that's something I really don't know why. On LCS, you need to have this account to be added as on the LCS project users, and we can't add the same Azure app registration we created before. So that's why you need this account. Of course, for security purpose, because I know that some security guy will say, no MFA, that's a nightmare. You can add some security. Speaking of the application connected, I made a screenshot here. On sign-in logs on Azure Active Directory, you can see here all the way that this account has been used only to connect to this kind of application, so only LCS. So that's something you can leverage and block if this account has been used to manual authentication, because it will be really not manually authentication, it will be used only on flows, on the PowerShell. So when you have done that, that's great, because you have on the two Azure things needed for registration, dedicated account, client ID, client secret, that's it. So I hope it's easy. Of course, after that, you need to deploy the Power Platform solution. So I extracted in unmanaged solution. So if you are new on Power Platform, that's something important, because in this way you have access. It's like a AX model for AX, whereas so AX model is unmanaged for Power Platform, and managed is deployable packages, so compiled. So if I were you extracted for you managed solution, it will be impossible for you to change something on this solution. So really I gave you all my work so you can change anything you want. Yeah, but really if you made some change, as explained before, don't hesitate to push it to GitHub, so we can socially as a community share your input, your feedbacks or your improvement. Okay, so to deploy it's really easy. So if I go to my Maker Power Portal for Power Apps, you have to go to Solution, and here I have already installed, but you have to just import, select the zip file, and that's it. It will take some time 5 minutes. And after, when it's deployed, you just don't forget to publish all customization, okay? And after that, you will see you have now a new model-driven app that's a part of this solution, and we will see just after how to use it, why you have done that, etc., etc. Just before going on this point, if you go to the Power Automate Maker portal now, so make.powerautomate.com, you go to, oh, no. Okay, you go to the right environment, and you will see you have the 6 flows I've made. So 3 are made for example, and 3 of them are made as a core element, in fact, as a child flow. So the goal was really to provide you something important, is give you the door of the house, you know, like a function, like a standard function. If you are developer of Express Plus or .NET or development whatsoever, it's really child flow are really something you can put it as a function, you know, so you can call it, or like an API. It's okay, give me the few inputs I need. On output, I give you, you know, a return, an argument. Okay, so that's really the 3 of those 3 are really the main component, in fact, and those 3 we will see after are just made as an example. Why I have done just check it, that is, I don't know why, but sometimes when you deploy your solution on the Power Platform, I check it, and sometimes I don't know why, but those kind of flow can be turned off. Okay, so it will be gray out. Here it's not gray out, it's well activated. So but I explained that on my article. So you need to activate all of them, okay? And just important, activate on an order, really important order, because sample use child flow on it. So if you activate a sample where the child flow has not been activated, it will not work. Of course, you will have an error. So first, activate all child flow, those 3. And when all those 3 have been activated, turn on, you can activate and turn on the samples 1. Okay. So if you go to this one, you will see you have a button turn off, turn on, and you have a status on. Okay. So that's it, I think, for Power Platform. Yeah, so all deployed. I explained model-driven app. I explained the flows itself. Okay. Last part of configuration is Azure Automation. So why I have done and used this kind of component? Well, globally, first, because I love Power Platform, I wanted to use, you know, RPA, so Power Automate Desktop Flow. Okay, UI Flow back then, in last year, the name before. Well, the bad thing of that is I just want to launch a PowerShell script, you know. So Power Automate Desktop is really great, in fact, to automate all kinds of things on the desktop, okay? Because I wanted, you know, from my Power Automate flow to call something to execute my PowerShell script. But okay, I said, well, this is really not cheap, in fact, because I want to be unintended, you know, Power Automate. So I want to execute this PowerShell script without someone connected on this machine, okay? Like I said, I want maybe every Sunday, when nobody works normally as developers, to refresh, maintain development environment for this customer. So maybe all those virtual machines will be turned off. I hope so, to save money. I want to start them, the T10 development environment started, and call on each of them the PowerShell script, okay? Without any connection, someone to have to connect it, okay? So that's why I really use this kind of thing as automation, because we can, you are already on Azure, in fact. You know, when you deploy an Azure Cloud Hosted environment, you deploy an Azure virtual machine, okay? So you are already on Azure, so it's just one component, and this is really cheap than for automate RPA. So that's why I use that, okay? So you need to create this resource on Azure. You need to create it if you are a partner. Again, you need to create the Azure Automation account on each tenant, on each customer again, okay? but you just need to do it one time. Okay, you have one global. Even if you have, as of today, you have 2 development environments, and in the future you will have 10. You just have one Azure Automation account for the whole tenant of Azure, the whole subscription. So when it's created, just one important setup to do is to add Azure role assignment. So why? In fact, is because the Azure Automation account needs to have some permission on your Azure resource group of each development environment. So if you go there, you will see here I have one development environment, so I have one resource group, and I put it contributor things for this resource group. Okay, that's important because otherwise your runbook will fail. Okay, because the Azure Automation account doesn't have permission to access the resource group where you have your virtual machine. And when it's done, you need to create the runbook like I've done here. You can go here, Data ALM. So you create, I can share it with you if you like. That may be better. I will share. Okay, so I have my automation account. Yeah. So here I have my automation. So as I said, I created a runbook. So to create it, you create the runbook. Again, for the identity part, it's here as your role assignment, and here you put your the right permission to it. So you need, just to be sure, important, you need to push every, permission to each virtual machine. So here I have just one, but if you have time, you have to. So as I said, you have to create the runbook, and again you need to pick no Python, PowerShell, and you put like this, create. Okay, so now I need to grab the text file. Okay, so you just have to first copy, paste. Okay, that's it, save, publish. Okay, that's it. I have normally my runbook now. Okay, and last thing is to create the webhook. The webhook, and put an expiry date very like let me put my year, 10 years after, test. Just don't forget to copy paste before and store it somewhere. You have the URL, you will need it after for the model driven app as settings. Click OK. After you have to go there one time, I don't know why, just to put nothing, but click OK, and now you can create. Okay, now you have an Azure Automation account with the runbook, the PowerShell script, in fact, that will restore the database on the cloud-hosted environment, and you have set up a webhook that it can be called outside of Azure. Of course, as you maybe will know after, that's something I use after in the automate flow is a webhook URL. Okay, just so that's why don't forget to copy paste the link before save it. And that's it for the automation globally. Yeah, so we have done that. Great. Last configuration, I think, before doing the configuration, is to explain what you need to do on the development environment. Okay, so you can copy paste the 2 PowerShell script. So again, this is those 2 script, PowerShell script. You can copy paste on the C disk. Okay, here on the root folder, in fact. Let me just open it to explain you 2 things. Okay, so the first one is at the end called setup. So important, very important, you need to execute this one time for a new virtual machine. Okay, so why is that? Because yeah, if I open it, it makes sense, I think, I hope so. Okay, maybe with the, okay, I will run as administrator, PowerShell ISE. Okay, so open, please. Thank you. Okay. So here, multiple things. So again, I use the here. I installed the Dynamics 365 tools library, the same one I showed you before on GitHub. Huh? The very great library for all kind of stuff you need. This is really important because I used some function of this library on my own PowerShell script I've made. So if you don't install it, of course, it will not work. Of course, I use two other components. It's a copy, so that's a library used for downloading automatically something on a blob storage, because I don't know if you know that, but when you back up a database from Sandbox tier 2, it's stored on an LCS library, asset library, database backup, you have it. Normally, you can download it, manually, you click on it, it will download it on your local computer. But in fact, all those database backup stored in LCS data set library are really stored on an Azure blob storage. So as a copy is really great because this is very good when you want to download it faster, a package from this library. So I use that, and at the end, last thing I used, of course, to restore a database, I use SQL packages, okay, to access and restore the database on it. So you just have to launch. I can launch it if you want. No, I already launched it on this environment, but first time you will have some pop-up. So as you can see, it's currently downloading. Okay. And really, you just have to do it one time, okay? And of course, if you deploy a new environment, you need to do it, of course, on each of them, but just one time, and that's it. The other one, you don't really need normally, but I gave you the code just if you want, because you can use this one if you don't like my solution completely. You just need the PowerShell script on an Azure Cloud environment just to restore automatically the backup on the Cloud environment on an Azure VM. You can just use this one if you like, because this script can be after that used in an Azure Windows Server task scheduler. And I don't know, but each Sunday the task scheduler on Windows Server will execute this PowerShell script and restore the latest backup you have made in LCS. Okay, but so that's why. And in fact, my Azure Runbook, if you compare those two things, this one, that's the main component and that's the main PowerShell script, I just use this one on an Azure and put it on Azure Runbook. I have to do it some changes because the Azure Runbook will attend some parameters at first, coming from the Power Automate flow that we will see after, and after call this script. So, but globally, 80% of the Azure Runbook exactly the same code as this one. Okay. So first, of course, before made the runbook available, I have made it locally to try it and check if it works. And okay, now it works. Now I will put it as an Azure runbook. So just to explain what I have done, but first I need, of course, some parameters, arguments, like the username, password, that's the LCS service dedicated account I explained before, the client ID. I just need the client ID here, not the client secret, but I need the client ID of the Azure App Registration we just talked at first of this video, the project ID of the LCS, the API of LCS. Important here. This one is a global one. I know in Europe, normally it's the same in US, I think, but sometimes I know that on some regions, like Norway, like maybe France, like over part of the world, I don't remember exactly, maybe Australia, I don't know. It will be not exactly like this, could be like this. Like for France, I think this is the one. Okay, so if you connect to your LCS with lcs.dynamics.com, so this URL will be this one. Okay, LCS API dot. Okay, but if you go to fr.lcs.dynamics.com. Okay, because this is something I noticed on some customers. And server instance, sorry. Okay, need to change that. Server instance, you need to server instance, you need to put the SQL server, you know, the local host. In fact, the server SQL instance locally on premise. Okay. So the first part, I connect to LCS. After that, I grab the latest backup database on LCS. I stop all services. I delete the previous XDB. I restore the database. I launch a synchronized database for AX. I start all services. I erase the backup, and that's it. Okay, but globally, normally, I hope so. My comments on the PowerShell will, you will know why I have done that. Okay. Just one thing I have to. No, not this one. Just. Yeah, I need to change. Okay. So normally after that we are good. Yeah, we are good. So now all configured for you. Installation has been done completely. So I hope so. As you have seen, maybe the Azure part is, you know, will take more times, but well, you have a new Azure Cloud Hosted. You just to copy paste the PowerShell script. You launch the setup one, and that's it. You know. The Azure automation, of course, you have to create on each customer, but that's really quick to create the resource. You put the identity for, you know, the role assignment I explained before. You create the runbook. You copy paste the webhook you create, and that's it. Okay, so yeah, takes some time. The Power Platform, as I said, normally you will deploy the solution one time for the installation, and the Azure App Registration plus the dedicated LCS account. Of course, you will have to do it on each tenant, but that's very quick to create. For me, in fact, just for you, I think, yeah, Power Platform, it will take 5 minutes, I think, to install. The dedicated account plus the LCS app registration, maybe 5 minutes, so 10. And after, maybe 5 minutes or 10, maybe, to create the Azure Automation account, to create the runbook, grab the webhook URL, and maybe launch on each closest environment the setup PowerShell script. But yeah. Okay, so configuration. So now I have installed everything. So if I launch it, you will see model driven app. Okay. So here I have made 2 tables, very easy. One is for your own all your customers. Again, if you are a customer and not a partner, you just have one record, but yeah. I made it so that it can be global. So here I have 3 customers. Okay. So if I pick Dana Jill as an example, you will see not a lot of stuff to do. So here we can see. Dana Jill. Yeah, as I said. Settings, and here in settings you have to put explain, so you can see this is kind of the same thing we have seen the PowerShell script before. So again, the API of FCS, project ID FCS, client ID, client secret. Here you need the client secret, the username and password of the dedicated LCS account, and the webhook automation you have created before. Okay, and really saved hopefully. Okay, that's it. So each customer you have, so 3, 4, 10, I don't know, but you can create all of them here. Okay, and here I have one more table, so really easy. So you have to create here all your environment of all customers. Okay, so DevBox, cloud hosting environment, Sandbox, production. Okay, so if I pick this one on DevBox here, so on a DevBox you have few more things to put as settings and parameters. So the environment ID of finance operation. So all kinds of things normally you have it, of course, on your environment details on the LCS. the customer, of course, the server instance. So this is the same I explained before on the PowerShell script again. So the SQL server instance locally on the local machine. Normally this is exactly the same as the Azure VM name. Normally this is the same. By default this is the same. The local account, local password of the VM, and the Azure resource group name and Azure virtual name. Okay. Here. And for sandbox or production, well, globally that's the same thing. You just have to put the environment ID, in fact, for sandbox and production. Okay, this is more simple. And that's it, I think, for configuration. We have done all of it. Yeah. So now let's go to work. Power Automate. So let's go to Power Automate. So I will explain just my child flow, and after we will build some sample. I can show you the sample one I've made and shared with you, but we can create in this video, we will maybe create one dedicated as an example. So let's pick the first child flow that refresh the database. So I have a lot of init variables, of course, I need. I retrieve information from the customer. So at first, sorry, this is those 3 inputs I need. Well, I made that, yeah. So the customer name, though that's unique, in fact, when I created the customer table on the Dataverse, this is an index, so you can't have a Dynagy2 twice. So no problem to put it the name. And the source environment name and the destination environment name. Donc again, you can't have the same source environment name for the same customer. So for the environment table, the index is customer plus environment name. Okay. So you just have to put those 3 arguments, and after here this part is to retrieve all settings on the Dataverse, on the configuration you have made, of course. And when I retrieved all information I need, just add just one small condition, is to be sure that I've got everything I want needed, in fact, to refresh it. Of course, I didn't check if it's the right environment ID. Well, if it failed, it will fail, and you will know that. But yeah, just to make sure that, yeah, globally you have made, you don't have missed one settings on the model-driven application. Just to make sure that, of course, the destination type is a sandbox, you can't refresh a production, and you can't refresh, of course, that's a shame. Or shame, I don't know, but yeah, can't refresh a cloud-hosted environment like this, so it's only sandbox. Of course, I check also that the source environment is a production or a sandbox. And after, this is the real stuff, is of course to authenticate me on the LCS API. And when I am successfully, well, I do the authentication here, and I call the LCS API to refresh your environment. Okay. And when the LCS say, oh, good, success is not, it's finished, it's okay. Your call is okay, and the refresh is ongoing. Okay, so because it's ongoing, I need to know when it's finished, of course. So first, I delay something is because I know that normally a refresh takes like 1 hour, not less. So, and after 1 hour, I call another method of this API to know if the status is complete. Okay, so every 5 minutes, I recall this API with the operation activity ID I grabbed before from the first call of LCS. And when it's finally complete, here something I've put that is very new. I don't know if you have noticed that like me, but even if it's complete, after a refresh on LCS, now you will have a post-servicing status. I don't know. Well, maybe you have already noticed that, but when it's complete, you receive, you know, an automatic an email from LCS saying complete. Okay, notification email, and you go to LCS, you check and say, well, it's complete. Well, it's on 96%, and it's on post servicing, so you can connect on the environment. I don't know why Microsoft has done that, and I don't, because it was not do it like this before. When it was complete, it's really complete, and the status is deployed on LCS, not post servicing. So just to make sure that I know very well that it's finished, I wait again a little bit, because sometimes, and that's something good, you will see after in the sample flow, is sometimes I want to refresh and back up just after. And if your environment is still on post-servicing status, you will have an error, because in fact the environment is not really on deployed state. You know, there is still an activity on it. Okay, so you can't back up it. So that's why I prefer to wait, and that's why I've made it on the child flow. So every time you will call, you know, first I made a refresh, and just after I made the backup, that's something important. But I made a comment to explain. Okay, so that's it for the first one. The second one, the backup DB. Well, very simple, because exactly the same. Again, just two parameters here is the customer name again, and the environment name you want to backup. Okay. And after I retrieve all information from the model-driven app stored in the Dataverse, I check again that you back up a sandbox, okay, and not a production, because you can't. After, I just again authenticate me to LCS API and calling the standard methods you have to backup, to ask LCS to back up the database. And when it's when LCS say okay, it's okay, I will backup it, is success. Again, I delay 1 hour, because normally a backup will not take less than 1 hour. Again, I refresh every 5 minutes to say, hey LCS, is it finished? No. Hey LCS, is it finished? Yeah. Ah, yes, it's finished. Oh, good, thank you. And now I can go ahead and if it's complete, okay, I just return complete, finished. Every time if something wrong happen, I will return a variable, an output, a status error. Okay. If it's all well finished, it's finished. Okay. That's something important. When you made a child flow, you need to respond. You know, to do an output. You need to do an input, of course, because if it's a child flow, it will be called from someone else, in fact. And on output, you need to respond with something. Okay, that's it. And the last one, the last core flow. So restore database on a cloud hosted environment, so on an Azure VM for developers. Here, again, just two parameters as an input, the customer name and the environment name. Again, I retrieve all information needed. Again, I check here that is a real cloud hosted environment. And here it's very easy, because I don't have to call LCS API or whatsoever. I just need to call the Azure webhook automation URL you have made, you know, the one we talk at the middle of this video. So that's very simple. Here I have to you know, to create a JSON webhook. So that is the data as an input, the webhook data, the first parameter, and as an object. I gave all things needed on the PowerShell, again, because as you maybe remember, on the PowerShell script, that's all the input variables I need to do the stuff. And here I just call the Azure Automation webhook URL. And that's it, finished. So now you have made that. I will just show you very quickly the sample one, and after maybe we will build one with you, if you like. So here I've made a sample one. Really those 3 samples are only made for just example. So you can delete them if you want, because you don't need it. But this is really just as a comment to show you very quickly how you can call those child flow, in fact. So here, a simple one is to do those 3 steps again, end-to-end, completely automatically without any action. Well, this one there is an action because you need to call the sample flow. You need to call it like this. In fact, if I go to run, here you need to put all the input. You click run and that's it. Okay, all the way because at first I call the first child flow the refresh DB. So prod to pre-prod or UAT. Could be pre-prod, in fact, prod to pre-prod, so production to a sandbox, refresh. After a backup, I do a backup automatically at the end without any action of this same pre-prod or UAT, so sandbox tier 2 instance. And when the backup is made and done, I restore it on one Azure Cloud Hosted environment here. But again, just an example, but you can, if I wanted to do prod to pre-prod, backup that, and restore to 5 cloud hosted environment, I just add here below, between that, to put like this, I don't know, dataverse, please. Okay, list rows. Okay, you can choose the environment table. You can put give me, I don't remember exactly the number, but I think in my article I gave you, otherwise you need to go to the solution of the dataverse to know this is an option set, this is a choice in dataverse. It's like an enum. So you need to put not the label but the number, and for cloud hosted this is this one. So I can put that, and after that I just need equals and the name of the customer name, and here now I retrieve with this query, I retrieve all cloud hosted environment for this customer that we have here paste here. Okay, whereas here in this sample, I put it so you can, in fact, if you want to use this sample, you can erase this input in this argument, this one, just so only 3 arguments, and here you can say, okay, I don't want to put one static, one cloud hosted, but all of them for this customer only, of course. And here just change environment name and put the name on the list rows. Okay, name, and apply to each, and that's it. I can save, and that's it. Okay, so that's good, no? So here with that, that was really the goal of this sample. Those samples was really to give you just example, but you can change them directly if you want, or something important. Just before, I will not save, but just before I will just show you the sample, but after I will show you how to create your own one on your own solution. So here this one is easy, it's quite the same thing. Here I do a backup, okay, on a sandbox, and here I restore just on one cloud hosted environment. Okay, and this one, so multiple cloud hosted environment. This one, I just put the customer name, okay, like Danaji. I'll retrieve the customer, so Danaji. For this customer, I'll retrieve again the same thing, the type, the type, so all exactly like before. I retrieve for this customer all environment of type Cloud environment, and after for each of them I call the restore DB Cloud environment child flow. That's it for the sample one. So again, if you want to create your own one outside of the solution I've made, that's easy. I hope so. So you have to create your own solution, so new solution on the same environment, on the same Dataverse environment. And when it's created, like, so here I created a new one called, so this is the one I've made, and this is the new one where I can put my own flow of me, okay? So of you. So here I can click now new automation. Very important, sorry. I don't know, because I don't know what is your, if you're an expert of Power Automate or not, but you can't call child flow outside of a solution, okay? So if I go to my flow here, okay, you can see we see the flows that were part of the solution installed. But I don't know if I create new one, no, not automated flow, instant. Let's create a test. You will see, well, that's very easy. Huh? You will see that if you go, you search for child flow, you don't have it. That's impossible. Okay. So here, when you want really to go, and this is really important. In fact, normally in Power Platform on Dataverse, again, I don't know if you are a good expert of that on Power Platform, but let's take the time for that to maybe as a reminder. But Power Platform, in fact, solution has like model in AX, in Dynamics Finance Operation. So of course you can't do development outside of a model for Dynamics Finance Operation. For Power Platform, it's quite, yeah, for the governance, that may be a nightmare, but some people can do stuff directly on the environment, you know. But that's not part of a solution that you can export, import from an environment A to B, you know, to the ALM stuff. Of course, so that's a real good practice, best practice in Power Platform. Say always all development, all change, all things you do on Power Platform, you need to put it in a solution. So that's why, well, as I explained before, you can't in fact call child flow without solution. So that's so it's mandatory. So that's good. So let's build a quick one on my own solution, the new one I've made. So here now, maybe as a demonstration, maybe I will do it more maybe, yeah, customer A, so put the name you want, yeah, Data ALM, yeah. Like maybe create, okay, I will change that after. Maybe I want every Sunday, so every week, in Paris time zone, thank you, at 3 AM every Sunday. So I will not select everything. Every Sunday at 3 AM, let's do it like this. Child flow. Here you will see I can refresh the DB. So here, if I want, because you know it's a static one, I'm doing just one time for one customer, okay? So static one, in fact, but you can do it like this. Compose, or you can create init variable. What's customer A? So the name, customer name. Output, and another compose, and I think I need another one. Oh, I do it quickly. Normally you rename every steps correctly, you put comments, etc. But yeah, environment name source, environment name destination. Okay, you put so this is a source, this is a destination. Okay, that's it. And after, maybe at the end at 3 every Sunday, I will call, and when it's done, well, normally also important, after a refresh of database, you know, the user access has been disabled. So here I can really simple way, yeah, you can add your own flow. Then agile. Okay, you can go to system users, retrieve all disabled users with a query. So I don't remember exactly by heart. I think it's something like this. I don't remember the name of the field of AX on system users. I think it's enabled. I don't remember the boolean to say, okay, it's the user access has been activated. And after, on all of them, I can update the record. Update, no, I will pick finance operation. Update record, thank you. So for all of them, again, system users. And here you have to put the same thing of the list item before, and you have normally the enabled here, as you can see, yes, no. Okay, so here like this, you can re-enable after the refresh all the user. Of course, I didn't spoke about that, but I think in my article you can in Automate do it like a workflow approbation. No, I don't remember exactly. Yeah, here normally you have a things called, you know, workflow approbation in Automate. So you can ask a user, someone, your manager, whatsoever, to have an approbation before calling the flow. You know, you can send automatically this kind of approbation to an adaptive card in Teams. I don't know if you have seen that, but in Teams you can have like just a small card. You know, the source, all the things needed, and just approve, reject. Okay, so click approved, and after the flow will continue. Okay, in Automate. So again, I reactivated the users. Of course, I didn't speak about it, but you can send email or Teams to someone between those steps. Okay, the refresh has been done. Okay, so notify people, alert, etc. Monitoring. And again, as I explained before, just after the refresh and the user has been activated again, I can put again the customer name and the environment name. So this is a compose 3, the destination, environment name destination. So here I backup after the same, I backup the database of the environment destination target where I have refreshed the database. Okay, and again I can put again a workflow approbation between those steps. Again I can notify people, but globally at the end, just before, like, well, I will not do it like this, but I can stop my flow here if I want. Or again, if you just want to refresh, yes, you can just stop after the apply to each here. You don't have to call you don't need to backup the thing. But if I want, if I wanted, I can restore all. I can restore all closed still environment. So by the same thing I've made before, because here again, if I want to do it again, I can recall dataverse, list rows, environment. No, environment, please. I don't know what I've done. Wow, nice bug. Environment, thank you. Filter rows. Okay, just to be sure that I have only clandestine environment for this customer, and again, because I know that by heart, equals the customer name, so this is the first output. Okay, and here I can put the first output of the customer name, compose one, and environment name, the name retrieve from Dataverse. Here, and again, here, all the way, incredible, I hope, all the way here, every Sunday at 3, again I can do every day, in fact at 3 if I want, but yeah. The refresh and backup, yeah, it's done by LCS and quite fast, yeah. I would say that a refresh takes 1 to 130, maybe 2 hours maximum, refresh DB from production to sandbox. A backup can take, sometimes, again, 1, 2, or maybe 3 hours. Depends really on the amount of data you have, in fact. So refresh plus backup, I would say max 4 to 5 hours. But after restore, that's something you can do all the way every night, in fact. So you start this kind of flow at 2 a.m. and at 7 a.m. restore plus backup, that's it. Refresh plus backup, sorry, done. Okay, but after restoring the database on the cloud-hosted environment, Azure, it can take some time. Not the first part of the PowerShell I've made, because the first part, again, it's just I connect to LCS, I grab the backup on locally, but after I restore it, the backpack locally on the SQL on-premise, this one, less than 5 to 6 hours I didn't see it. So so that's why for the Azure Cloud Hosting environment, even if you program it recurrently by recurrence, every I would say every week is great for developers. Every Sunday nobody works normally, or every Saturday, you do all those steps, and those steps, refresh plus backup, I will suggest maybe every day. Yeah, you can. But the restore database on cloud hosting environment, every week, on a Sunday, so that every Monday when developers came back, they have the latest database on it. Great. Well, I think I'm done. Hope you like it. Well, we can do over in this video over example if you like, but it will take some time. So hope you like it. Hope you will have those examples will help you to jump on it, and feel free to share any information again. If you have some improvement, inputs, question, feedbacks, whatsoever. So thank you everyone, and see you next